The story of Gauss and his two laws. Far away, in a land called Feodoria, people often wondered about the invisible forces that ruled their world. They saw sparks of electricity, they felt the pull of magnets, but no one could explain why these mysterious fields behaved the way they did. One day, a wise traveler named Carl Friedrich Gauss arrived in Feodoria. The villagers gathered around him, curious to hear what secrets he carried. With a gentle smile, Gauss said, "I will tell you two truths of nature. Listen carefully, for if you see the story in your mind, you will never forget my laws." The first truth, electricity and the palace of charges. Gauss led them to a grand crystal palace, inside which sat King Q, glowing brightly. From him, tiny shining messengers flew outward in every direction. These messengers were none other than electric field lines. A child asked, "If we build a wall around this palace, how many messengers will pass through the wall?" Gauss raised his staff and said, "No matter what shape your wall is, round, square, or jagged, the total number of messengers depends only on how powerful the king is, his charge Q." He explained, "This is Gauss' law for electricity. The total electric flux through any closed surface equals the enclosed charge divided by epsilon 0. Phi E equals, contra integral E times, dA equals, Q slash epsilon 0. To make them understand, Gauss called upon two helpers. Eddy the electric field, E. Ariel the area patch, dA. Eddy pushed through Ariel's little patch, creating one tiny messenger, E times, dA. When every patch on the wall joined, the villagers saw all the messengers together, the great sum. Contra integral E times, dA. And Gauss declared, "This equals Q slash epsilon 0, the power of King Q himself." The villagers nodded in awe, now seeing electric charges as kings whose messengers pass through any walls surrounding them. The second truth, magnetism and the endless river. Then Gauss took them to the Valley of Magnets. Here, shimmering rivers of magnetic field lines flowed endlessly in loops, weaving across the sky and back into the ground. A villager asked, "Where is the magnetic king? Where is the single pole that sends out these rivers?" Gauss shook his head. "Children, no such king exists. Unlike electricity, magnetism has no single charges. Every north pole is forever tied to a south pole. The rivers never begin and never end, they only flow in closed loops." He revealed the second truth. Gauss' law for magnetism, the net magnetic flux through any closed surface is always zero. Phi B equals, contra integral B times dA equals, 0. Once again, Gauss called helpers. Benny the magnetic field, B. Ariel the area patch, dA. Benny flowed into Ariel's surface patch, but just as much left through the other side. When the villagers added up every patch, the total was 0. Gauss smiled. "This means magnetic field lines never start or end. They always come in pairs, always loop forever." The villagers now pictured magnets as eternal rivers, flowing endlessly without a beginning or end. The legacy. As the villagers of Feodoria cheered, Gauss reminded them. Electricity, a king, charge, sends messengers, field lines. Flux equals Q slash epsilon 0. Magnetism, no king exists. Rivers of field lines loop forever, so flux is always 0. Years later, the great scientist James Clerk Maxwell would gather Gauss' two truths along with Faraday's and Ampere's into his legendary scrolls, the Maxwell's equations. These four equations became the heart of electromagnetism, guiding the world into a new age of science. Outro, eternal memory. And so, in Feodoria, even children remembered the tale. A glowing king with messengers passing through every wall means, Gauss' law for electricity. A river of magnetism that never begins and never ends means, Gauss' law for magnetism. Gauss' two truths live not as formulas on paper, but as unforgettable stories etched in their imagination forever. If you enjoyed this journey, don't forget to like this video, share it with your friends, and subscribe to our channel so you never miss the next magical law of electricity and magnetism. Together, let's light up the world with learning.